Welcome to The Know, I'm Ashley. With E3 just a few months away, one of the big three's finally started hyping up their engines in preparation for the show. Microsoft announced they will be kicking off the press conference festivities on Sunday, June 10th at 1 p.m. Pacific time, along with a few changes to their typical format. In what they are calling their biggest E3 showing ever, all of Xbox's events, demos, FanFest activities, and even the press conference will be taking place in one location this year, the Microsoft Theater across the street from the LA Convention Center. Major Nelson wrote on his blog that this will allow Xbox to reach more fans than ever before live at the show. It sounds like they've got some major stuff planned for the conference now. We're just waiting on the other guys to send out their save the dates as well. I'm assuming that EA is going to go on Saturday. They've got their whole event that they are doing as well. So we'll see. But this is a move for Microsoft. Normally they go on Monday, now they're going on Sunday. We'll see what happens. It looks like Square Enix might have accidentally leaked the announcement and release date of the next Tomb Raider game. Oops. If you go to the Tomb Raider website, it says there's going to be an announcement on March 15th at 8 a.m. Central. That's tomorrow. But some people dug into the site's HTML and, well, that spoils the whole thing, saying Shadow of the Tomb Raider is the climactic finale of Lara's origin story, available September 14th, 2018. So much for the big announcement. There were a couple of other interesting things that people also found in the website source code, including a reveal date of April 27th, and the platforms it's going to be releasing on, which include Xbox One, PS4, and PC. So, I mean, it's kind of sorry to spoil the announcement, Square Enix, except, are we? Because you did it! I mean, make sure your HTML knows how to keep its mouth shut next time. Everyone always digs into that. That's normal. Don't put it in there. A Way Out's release date is quickly approaching, and now we've got a few more details about what to expect from the game. Creator Joseph Fares sat down with GameSpot recently, revealing that the game will take about 6 to 8 hours for players to complete, and interestingly, he offered some more information about his partnership with EA as well. According to Fares, EA isn't actually taking a cut of the game's sales, and they've been incredibly supportive of the process. Fares indicated that he could even say no to their feedback or requests for the game. As for how all that panned out, well, we'll find out when the game releases. It's coming on March 23rd for PS4, Xbox One, Windows. I'm pretty excited for this one, mostly because I really loved what he did with Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. Oh my god, that game was so good. That was the one where you control a different brother with each of the thumbsticks, and it's an experience you just need to play. That's available on like everything, I think. So if you get a chance, it's a pretty short game. You should play it. It's really, really good. But it gives me a lot of hope that he has these really cool ideas for non-traditional multiplayer. Anyway, we might have some of the first details about Destiny 2's upcoming expansion, courtesy of a leaked GameStop listing. The listing for Destiny 2: The Fallen Warmind showed up on Reddit this week, giving out a plot synopsis for the next big content drop in the game. The listing reads, "The Fallen Warmind continues your Guardian's journey with all new story missions and adventures set in a new destination, Mars. Rasputin has mysteriously vanished, and Anabre has returned to the last city, warning of a dark uprising on Mars. Discover the conspiracy behind his disappearance, prevent the rise of a corrupt warmind, and uncover the truth behind the collapse." In addition to that, sounds like there's going to be new weapons, new armor, new playable areas, new multiplayer maps, but what you'd expect, basically. Like the Curse of Osiris before, the Fallen Warmind will cost $20, and there's no release date just yet, but it is expected sometime in May. Some veteran developers have announced a new multiplayer game that looks pretty unique. The developers in question are part of a new studio called Midwinter Entertainment, which is made up of former 343 Industries staffers who worked on games like Halo, of course, but who also worked on games like Battlefield, Call of Duty, not the Studio 343, but the developers. They recently announced their first game, Scavengers, which looks like it's a pretty interesting mix of both competitive and cooperative gameplay. CEO Josh Holmes told Game Informer that the game is something called a third-person survival shooter co-opetition. He said the game will be match-based and it involves multiple teams scavenging for resources while building up their characters and then defending a zone. There will also be enemy AI to battle. It sounds pretty complex, but pretty cool too. In an announcement video, the devs describe it as teams of players compete while engaging in PvE combat. And it's all set in a post-apocalyptic world that's in the middle of a new ice age after a giant asteroid struck the moon and destroyed it. So, real cheery. All of our futures are dark now. No release date yet, but I'm definitely gonna keep my eyes on this. It seems almost like this could be another evolution or another twist on what Battle Royale has been doing, where it's, you know, it's trying to like last man standing, but then they're adding some sort of MOBA elements, they're adding some PvE. I don't know. I'm gonna check this out. Anyway, is Valve potentially going mobile? I mean, they could make a lot of money if they did, not that that's one of their problems. But during a recent tour of the Valve offices, a reporter from Touch Arcade got to preview their upcoming card game Artifact, which runs on the Source 2 engine that Valve has now ported to mobile. Valve boss Gabe Newell also mentioned that they've got Dota 2 running on tablets, but that it's extremely hard to control, which makes sense. Pretty interesting though that they are looking at mobile, because it means that possibly all kinds of Valve games could now be ported to phones and tablets. After all, we just saw this happen with Fortnite. On the other hand, it could just be that Valve is tinkering around and they have no plans to do anything of the sort unless a specific game seems to call for it, like Artifact. After all, Dota 2 on mobile, that does sound like a nightmare. Portal, oh god, that would be so hard to do on mobile. But get your cards and, well, that's a little bit easier. Retro collections are super popular right now. It looks like a collection of classic Sega Genesis games is coming to console in a couple of months. A trailer released today by Sega of America shows off a variety of classic Sega characters in all their 16-bit glory, including Sonic and Alex Kidd. According to the video description, the Sega Mega Drive collection has more than 50 games, although it didn't provide a list, but a Steam listing for the collection includes Alex Kidd in the Enchanted Castle, Altered Beast, Golden Axe 1 and 2, Gunstar Heroes, Shining Force 1 and 2, Streets of Rage 1 and 2, Shinobi 3, Virtua Fighter 2, and more. And while the trailer includes Sonic the Hedgehog and ToeJam and Earl, the Steam listing doesn't, so we'll have to wait for a complete list there. The collection is expected to release May 29th for PC, PS4, and Xbox One, but no Switch? Come on, guys! I want everything on Switch these days. Could esports players start forming unions? Potentially, maybe. There are a couple of pretty serious efforts underway to do just that right now, and they involve two of the biggest competitive games at the moment, Overwatch and Counter-Strike Global Offensive. According to the Sports Business Journal, one effort is being made by former Overwatch player and coach Thomas Kerbush, along with sports labor attorney Ellen Zavian, who says she is seeking to emulate major North American sports unions like the NFL Players Association and the MLB Players Association. The other involves Counter-Strike players, and it's being led by esports broadcaster Scott Sir Scoots Smith and attorney Michael Doy, who represents esports players. They are gathering signatures for something called the Counter-Strike Professional Players Association, and they're looking to recruit among the more than 225 players who play the game professionally. This would be a pretty big deal if either succeed, because unions would allow players to collectively bargain the terms and conditions of their employment. And needless to say, that could have huge ramifications across the world of esports. Hey you. You need more free games in your life? Sure you do. Who doesn't? Well, Twitch is expanding its free indie games program with a bunch of games this month and next. The free game giveaway program is part of Twitch Prime. If you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, you are eligible. The service is making a bunch of mostly indie games available starting on March 15th, including Shadow Tactics and Tales from Candlekeep, Tomb of Annihilation. Also available on that date are Superhot, Oxenfree, and Mr. Shifty, so some pretty cool stuff. And starting on April 1st, the service will get 5 different games, including Tales from the Borderlands, SteamWorld Dig 2, Kingsway, Tokyo 42, and Dub Wars. So, yeah, nice little bonus if you're in the market for some free games, and I don't think anyone would say, like, nah, I don't like those. I mean, you might not like the individual games, you might not want, like, this one specific one, but free games in general are pretty dope. And some sad news to end on. The physicist Stephen Hawking, who was probably the world's best-known scientist, has died at 76 years old. Of course, Hawking was known to millions for his research into black holes and his best-selling book, A Brief History of Time, which sold more than 10 million copies. Hawking was diagnosed with ALS when he was 21. He spent most of his life in a wheelchair and used a computer-assisted speech program to communicate. In addition to his pioneering research, he also became a worldwide celebrity, and Hawking's story was told in the movie The Theory of Everything, which released in 2014. Eddie Redmayne, who won an Oscar for his portrayal of a young Hawking, said, "We've lost a truly beautiful mind, an astonishing scientist, and the funniest man I have ever had the pleasure to meet." And in a statement, his children said, "He was a great scientist and an extraordinary man whose work and legacy will live on for many years. His courage and persistence with his brilliance and humor inspired people across the world." And he really was one of the world's foremost scientists, and everyone knew who Stephen Hawking was. The dude appeared in Star Trek as himself, and he just such amazing contributions to science, and we're all a little bit less for it. So leave your favorite quote or memory of Stephen Hawking in the comments down below, and I don't know, I'm gonna read through them and be sad for a little while. Rivas even indicated that he can... Anyway, we might have some details about the the listing for Destiny 2, The Fallen Warmind shows up on Reddit this... One effort is being made by former Overwatch player and coach Thomas Mortick Caboose. Coach Thomas Mortick